Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the Forged Alliance Forever promotional series with me, your host, Gyle. I've got a little interesting ladder match today. Pulled it off the replay vault a little bit earlier, and it's going to be Zlord versus Mad Stork. Let's head on over to Craftius Maximus and see what the outcome is going to be. Craftius Maximus, one of my favorite maps, certainly my most favorite map of the ladder pool at the moment. Why do I like it so much? It's got all of the sea, so navy comes into play. Also, your cliffs by your base are very, very low, so it's easy for your opponent or for you to get in behind there and do lots of damage if you get naval superiority. It's got little choke point channels for you to have little canyon wars in. Does have these two plateaus as well, which generally get left alone. You've got 3 mass points on either side, but the only land entrance is facing the other direction near your opponent's base. And if you do run up engineers up there to cap these, it's just too easy for a few T1 artillery pieces to roll past and pop them. So generally, if it's an even game, for the most part, these never get taken. You've got the 3 islands on either side as well. They can't be scaled by engineers. They have to be airdropped. Lots and lots of mass as well, littered around the sea and land. So it just makes for a very all-encompassing game. Lots of different types of units, lots of tech, and it can drive even the most seasoned players, if it's a relatively even match, into really long games. So that's why I like it. So let's take a look at the players and the locations. Up here in the red corner for the Cyber Nation, we've got Zlord. He's running dual land, and he's going to be going heavy spam off the starting blocks. Mad Stork, however, is going 1 land, 1 air. He's hooking that straight up to the hydrocarbon, and both these guys getting a few assault bots off the pad initially. At the top, Zlord is sending 1. He's going to hook that round to the right-hand side, but he's sending quite a heavy group down the middle, and that's going to bump into, it looks like, 1 lone hunter for Stork. And it's going to be touch and go whether or not they get vision. I think they probably will. Indeed they do. Lovely little bit of micro there from Zlord, left and right. So he makes it out of there with his hunter with what looks like 16 hit points. Lovely little dodge there. Knew that was going to happen because of that mole. So he got that pre-warning and was watching. And scores the first blood. Got a little hunter on the left-hand side that came across the bottom for Stork. He's just going to hang out down here and he's going to wait for this engineer to come and start work on those mass points, which he's going to do. Zlord also getting off the starting blocks very early with grabbing the naval mass points. You can see he's got 3 online already. And this one engineer is due to come all the way around here, build these mass points, and he's even rather ambitiously expecting to try and get hold of the ones right by Stork's base, but we'll see how that works out for him. Not convinced about that myself. You see, even here, this engineer could scale this platform and go up here and pick up one of these 3, but he's just not going to bother. These are much more likely to stay in play, so he's going to go for those first. We've got an early bomber out for Stork. He's going to go, he's set a patrol route in this area. He's just going to go hunting for engineers. There are a couple in that area. We'll see how good his bomber micro is. Doesn't manage to get a bomb off on that first pass. He's also got a reinforcing interceptor to offer him some protection. On the right hand side as well, he's got his ACU Stork out and he's picking up some lab kills. Lord manages to withdraw 1. You can hear a bomb go down and take out 1 engineer, so that is definitely useful. It's a useful start. And another one looking like it's going to go down, tries to micro it out the way, but unfortunately doesn't make it. He's now going to go flying over the main base, and there are a bunch of vulnerable engineers in here. Bombs away. Going to take that one out, so we're up to 3 kills already with that bomber. But we've got some Sky Slammers out now for Zlord, the mobile T1 anti-air, and very soon that's going to be a nasty place for air units of Stork to hang out. It's going to let another bunch of bombs go down, take another one out, so 4 engineers. So this bomber has definitely paid for itself in terms of slowing up his opponent, which is exactly the idea from these early bombers. We're going to go engineer hunting and see how much hampering he can do. Another bomber down here electing to go after this mole, takes it out, and that's going to be radar coverage gone from this section, which is definitely a bonus for Stork. So things looking quite rosy in the very early game as we pass the 5-minute mark for Stork. He's done some very nice maneuvers with his bombers, but like I said before, this area is starting to become very dangerous to be a blue air unit. Gets another one away and another engineer goes down. So that's 2 kills for that bomber. That other bomber has been shot down. I think it went down up here. You can see, yep, that was it there. But it certainly paid for itself. And that's more than can be said for most of the early bombers. Very often they do get shot down, even at this level. And that one looks like it's not long for this world either, down to 20 HP. It has got some regen on it because it has those 3 kills. But bang, out of the sky from a little guarding interceptor. And that will be the end of that little bombing run. Not seeing any more bombers on the pad being produced at the moment. Stork just working on trying to get some air superiority on. He's just going to leave that on perma build of Inties, which is probably a good idea. Little run by at the bottom right by some Mantis from Zlord. Gonna pick up, no, not gonna pick up that mass point, which is a mistake. He's never gonna win that fight. He should have stayed on it and just helped to deny that mass. But shoulda, woulda, coulda, all good in hindsight. That little engineer is still going, and instead of, obviously he hasn't been paying attention to it, because he could have reclaimed or captured these, and instead he's just rolling right on past to the other ones, which is probably not the ideal maneuver. Got a sub out, a sliver for Zlord. It's coming right around the bottom. Might see this engineer and take it out. Probably will, in fact. He's going to let a few torpedoes off. Indeed, that engineer will now be heading to the bottom. And another one, so that's going to slow up production of these naval factories dramatically. Will he manage to take out a third engineer as well? So this is really payback time for that initial set of bombing runs from Stork. Very nice indeed. He's got his navy online. He's got a couple of subs out on the map. And Stork still yet to get a working naval factory finished. Although he is making his drops on the lower islands. He's going to drop 1 engineer off on each to pick up those mass points. All very juicy. He's also sent another rally point up here. Wants to try and snag that. It's going to be interesting if he manages to do so. I doubt he'll make it. We have got some Inties out for Zlord on the left-hand side of the map. It's all going to come down to whether or not that gets seen. He's going right the way over here, though, so he might indeed manage it. Right off the right-hand side of the map. And Zlord's still yet to go after his. Getting a nice little fracas over here on the left-hand side. Another mass point going down for Zlord. This one's going to make it out there with 178 hit points still. But Zlord's ACU has come right down the bottom. He's going to march it forwards. Probably going to take out this mass point. He's going to change target initially to get that radar first. Definitely worth it. You know you're going to snag that in one shot. And then he can finish off the mass point immediately afterwards, which he does. And that ACU is going to give him enough firepower to hold that for the moment without any trouble, because of course Stork has done the same thing. His ACU is up here. And indeed, it does look like Stork might manage to get here first. He's got his engineer down on the ground. Wants to grab these 2 mass points, maybe get a factory up and running, but I don't think he'll have enough time. He's probably going to get double or triple engineered jobs. Lord will have anticipated the amount that, or the engineered drop from Stork, because it's this side of the map. No, he doesn't though. He's automated. He doesn't drop more than 1 engineer, but his attention is focused, so he's going to win the reclaim battle. Very unfortunate for Stork. If he'd have been a fraction earlier, maybe if he hadn't taken quite such a detour, or his attention had been there, he might have been able to do something about it. But this group of Mantis takes out the other mass point, but has been thinned out dramatically, and he's going to have to retreat. Zlord has made the transition to Tech 2. We've got hoplites on the field now, and exactly the same kind of time Stork also has made the transition. Though I'm still seeing, I'm not seeing any hoplites out just yet. That must have just finished building. And we've got quite a heavy push over here for Stork. Zlord's going to back his ACU out of there. Doesn't want to get caught in the middle, get bumped too many times and take too much damage. He's going to let his own Mantis thin out that horde. Take a look at the economy, see how these boys are doing. 75 mass currently for Mad Stork and 65 for Zlord. So economically wise, at the moment at least, Stork is still ahead. But it's quite interesting. You can see in terms of naval, that early navy push from Zlord, naval control, certainly map-wise, is still in Zlord's favour. He's got a couple of subs up here. He's guarding this kind of entrance. But Stork has remained unmolested. He's managed to get 2 naval factories online. I can't help but thinking that those subs had kind of been left patrolling up here. Stork wouldn't have been able to get that going, and that could have been the end of the game right there. But he has got it online, and he's been producing a bunch of subs at a much more increased rate than Zlord has. He's only got the 1 factory, of course, and he's now looks like he's producing Thunderheads. Oh, sorry, not Thunderheads, that's the wrong race. Tridents. God, I don't know what I'm saying today. So the T1 frigates for Cybrin, and he looks like he's sending a rally point to the same kind of place. He's trying to mass a fleet up here. Wants to maybe get some decent ships together in terms of tech, and then he can bombard this kind of area. So I applaud it, but if he'd been a bit more aggressive, he could have halted all this. And at this rate, he's going to lose out on Navy, which is not what he wants at all. But these hoplites nicely outranging this group of troops now, which are going to have to pull back even further from Stork and yield up more map control. And exactly the same kind of thing happening on the top. So Zlord being more effective at getting more T2 units out earlier. We're seeing the first hoplites on the field now for Mad Stork. But they're definitely outnumbered. Look at the amount of hoplites. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 hoplites-ish down there for Zlord. And indeed, you can see those submarines, those slivers for Zlord getting muscled out. They're going to have to retreat, and he's going to lose those mass points now because he's definitely come a cropper on naval control. However, Zlord has managed to get a second naval factory online just as I say that. So a pretty grisly looking group of troops for both these guys amassing now at the bottom, but much heavier in presence for T2 are the forces of Zlord. He's also got a mobile missile launcher up on this little plateau, which I like a great deal because of the trajectory. You see those Mantis shooting up at him, not getting anywhere because of the relief of the land. He could sit there all day currently. But he has got a couple of Medusas in there, and they're going to be able to lob over the top very effectively indeed, and that's probably going to be the end of that missile launcher. Indeed, that goes down. So applauding it on paper, but not working out in the long term. A very nice radar for Zlord, but the Medusa's unwisely backing away. He hasn't worked out what that could be. Just needs to send one of those forward, take that out without any trouble, but I'm sure that won't take too long. But we're up to T3 for Zlord already. He's got the trebuchets out, the T3 mobile artillery, and this could be devastating, especially with the huge horde of T1 in range there for Mad Stork. You can see the range on it, and that is indeed looks like where he's firing. Just go back to observer. No, he's dropping short. He really needs to move that up a little bit. He could destroy virtually all of this. Oh, look at that. So many units biting the dust for Mad Stork. Needs to move those back. Won't be anticipating the T3 this early on. I certainly wasn't. Very nice from Zlord, and he's doing very well on air as well. If you look at the amount of interceptors he's got going, looks like Stork has spent the extra mass on amassing some renegades. He's made the transition to T2 air, but the trouble is with that at the moment is Zlord has got a very grisly amount, or grisly looking amount of interceptors. Of course, could cause him a huge amount of problems. We're seeing some loyalists, sorry, not loyalists, bricks out now for Zlord, and things kind of going from bad to worse. It looked like initially Mad Stork had this game kind of wrapped up. Well, not wrapped up, but it looked like he was on top. Certainly he was on top economically wise, but I think in terms of what he's put his economy into, hasn't actually worked out best for him. You could just send that brick in now and start wrecking stuff. Where's Mad Stork's ACU? There, it's moving away. So no overcharge in range. It looks like he's just going to park it there for the moment and use it to defend. He's got a great deal of navy, however, Mad Stork. He can manage to get round the back and destroy what's left of Zlord's navy. Could wrestle naval control back off him for the rest of the game. But that brick getting a few circles run around it by some Mantis. But you can see hardly taking any damage at all and just popping away. And this has got to scare Stork slightly, especially since there's two bricks in very close proximity. He's trying to march it down with his ACU, see if he can get over there, I imagine, and overcharge it. Not sure if he's going to be able to. He did actually have a TAC missile launcher up and running. He's going to launch off some TAC missiles. What's he going for? He's eating a hell of a lot of artillery fire. It's actually going to get popped before it's going to get too many missiles out. Is he going for mass point snipe? It looks like that's what he's going for. Taking the T2 mass points out of the equation, trying to slow up the production of all this T3 he's now facing. But there are bricks galore coming at him from all angles. Things looking very nasty at the moment indeed. He's going to bring his renegades into the fold, help thin out this group of units, because quite frankly, his spam has just been annihilated thanks to a combination of Mantis push and some harassment from the bricks, and of course the long-range artillery fire from this trebuchet. And again, whole bunch of forces likely to get eaten. Oh, that's gonna hurt. So many forces getting boned, and they're just running away now from these bricks. Stork having to get his ACU in range so he can overcharge it. It's the only weapon he's got at the moment to deal with this brick. If he moves this brick back, he can keep it out of range, but he doesn't manage to, and eventually that gets popped. Renegade's working quite nicely at the moment. Certainly the air forces for Zlord seem to have been thinned out, and actually suddenly air control looking pretty healthy with Stork, but he suffered pretty badly. Look at the amount of vulnerable mass points that are yet to be taken. He's down to 73 mass incomes. Zlord is also on 73, but economically wise they may be even, but you can certainly say that Zlord has the initiative for the moment, and a huge quantity of interceptors coming in. I must have missed them. They must have been parked somewhere. A massive air fight now ensuing over the top of Madstalk's base. And they're going to be popping out all over the place. You see the wrecks of aircraft falling to their demise into the ocean and over the land. And I think Stork's probably going to get beaten on that front. It looks like Zlord has just too many interceptors. And although he's still massing some gunships over on the right-hand side, if he hasn't got air coverage to help protect them, that's not going to help him at all. And a huge, huge force of tridents sailing underneath that battle. So very nice combination of sea and air from Zlord helps give him the advantage and wipe out the forces, the air forces of Stork. And Stork looking in a rather precarious position now, trying to advance with a few bricks of his own. I think those timely tech from Zlord have done far too much damage. He has managed to get round the top with that initial group of submarines. Has taken out one naval factory, is working on taking out the next. And that will signal the end of any more air units, any more naval units for Zlord. And actually Zlord's ACU is chilling underwater. I wonder if he's got any kind of torpedo upgrade on him. We'll just click on him and see what he's got. He's got the personal stealth generator, so he's going to be very difficult to find indeed. Do with the torpedo upgrade and use that to knock aside any of those submarines, but they're probably just not going to see him. He's walking away from them just in case all the same. But these bricks having some success, taking a lot of artillery fire. He's got another trebuchet Zlord now in the middle canyon, just using that coverage of that cliff to fire over the top. And these Mantis just boldly walking up the walkway. Once again you can see how the relief of the land is benefiting him, but of course there's nothing up there really to snag. There's no mass points that have been taken. Probably just on some kind of recon mission. Can't really get up and do a great deal of damage, again thanks to the relief of the land, even if he parks right here. That's a battle that's going to go on all day with no victors. I say again, that's a battle that's going to end immediately because of trebuchet fire. One looked like it was literally rolling off the pad as well. Or it may have been this one parked up here. It was this one parked up here, ready and deployed. Things looking very precarious indeed. Map control shrinking minute by minute now for Stork. He's got a decent amount of bricks marching up the top, but he just needs to find a way to get back on top with this air issues. Zlord firmly in control, still producing out of the one... so no, he has got a bunch of factories, in fact. Sorry, excuse me. He's got 3 factories, and they're still producing interceptors at the rate at which continents drift apart. But he is a factory behind. You can see Zlord is producing out of 4 factories. 5 even, sorry. He's 2 factories behind. So there's a hell of a lot of interceptors available very quickly, and I think it's that transition to air which has really helped Zlord get ahead. However, we have got a few bricks about the map for Stork, having some success taking down the factory, but not going to get too much further thanks to the bricks hanging out on the left-hand side of the map for Zlord. And now Stork's just going to get pummeled to death. Trebuchet's sitting far out of range, completely safe. There's no air for him to worry about. He can just sit here all day. He's got excellent map coverage. If we click on Zlord, see the kind of coverage he's got. He can just move these backwards and forwards, hit everything from either side and the front of the base, harass these mass points, harass these anti-air and potentially any PD that goes down. That's not got any at the moment. Seems to be all about the bricks. Bricks on bricks all day is what these two guys are going for, but unfortunately for Stork, Zlord is going for them in a little bit of a higher quantity. I don't think he's going to be able to do anything about it, and Zlord just using the T1 air factories to produce large quantities of bombers now, and that is going to slowly but surely tickle these bricks to death. Eventually they will take enough damage to go down, but that will take a while. But of course Stork just unable to do anything about it because he hasn't got anywhere near what he needs from naval control. He has upgraded his naval to T2 because of course he had the advantage on the naval side of things, has destroyed the last naval factory for Zlord, but he's losing so heavily on the land and air front it doesn't make any difference. If it was even, that would be a game winner right there. He's going to march that Salem onto land and use it to provide extra coverage, but I think he knows it's down there. He's down. Oh, it's over now for Stork. Marched his comm forward, trying to overcharge what he can, but he's taking huge quantities of brick fire. A couple of nice ranks going on over the course of this fight, but as his health plummets below 4,000 HP, taking trebuchet fire down under 1,000, and there he goes. Kaboom! Very nicely played indeed, Zlord. I think that's a nice example of how you can be slightly behind, but if you make better decisions or more strategic decisions over the course of a game, how you can wrestle it back. Hope you enjoyed that, guys. There will be more to come soon, but for now, this is Gyle signing out.